Hi everyone. Today I'm making Cajun style bread pudding. I learned how to make this in New Orleans when I visited there, and I went to a cooking school and I learned how to make it, and it's so delicious that I've been making it for it's been at least 20 years that I make it. So what you need is a loaf of bread, which could be any kind of bread. You can mix bread, you can have leftover bread from anything like raisin bread, English muffin. I have Italian bread that I'm going to use, and I have panettone, which makes it nice. It's a nice kind of a sweet bread, soft bread. You use the crust and everything, and any kind of leftover bread of any kind, thin bread, French bread, like I said, English muffin, cornbread, any leftover. You can mix it all, or you could just use a loaf of French bread, a whole loaf cut up into little pieces like I'm doing here. You just take the bread and chop it up into little pieces with your hands. Here's the Italian bread. You use the crust. Just tear it apart. And then we're going to soak it with a quart of milk. And let it soak it for about 30 minutes till it all gets very soft. And then we're going to add half a cup of sugar, 6 eggs, gently scrambled, a cup of raisins, a tablespoon of vanilla, and a splash of amaretto. You'll add that into the bread mixture. And that's it for now. I'll just keep doing this and pour the milk in. So here's the bread all cut up into little pieces. I just took it with my hands, but you can cube it with a knife if you like, slicing it. Now here's the milk. I'm just going to pour a quart of milk right into the bowl. And that's it. And just let it soak. Just leave it for about a half hour. Try to cover it so it all gets into the milk. As you can see, my panettone had a lot of raisins in it, so I may need less raisins. Unless if you like a lot of raisins, then you leave the whole cup. But mine had a lot of raisins in it. Like if you use raisin bread, cinnamon bread, any kind of bread you have that's left over. Sometimes I freeze pieces that are left over and use them in this recipe. So we're just going to leave it for a half hour now to soak. It's only been a few minutes since I started soaking it, and I found this chocolate chip muffin, which I will also add chocolate chips. That'll add another flavor to it. So I'm going to add all that in too, just so you know. Okay, so it's been 15 minutes and it's soaking really well. So I'm going to add the rest of the items that go into it. So we have a half a cup of sugar. Just put it all in and mix it up. Make sure it all gets coated with the sugar. And then we'll add a splash or a tablespoon of vanilla. And a splash of amaretto right out of the bottle. Mix that in. Oh, it smells so good. And then I'm going to add the cup of raisins, but like I said, I have so many raisins already, so I'll add a half a cup because there's so many already. So you could see. And then you throw in the eggs, which I've already cut, whipped, not whipped, but just you know, pop the egg yolk and just mix it a little bit, and then just pour it right in. And we'll mix that. Get that coated. And that's bread pudding. Now we pour it into a pan that is well buttered, which I have done while I was waiting for the bread to soak. So I'm going to pour the whole mixture in. Okay, that's it. Then it's going into the oven, 375 from 30 to 40 minutes at 375. And it'll set nicely, and then you take it out and you let it cool for about 20 minutes, and then we'll add the topping, which is an amaretto or amaretto sauce that we'll put over it. Okay, so it's going in the oven. I'm just about to take it out of the oven, the bread pudding, and this is how it looks. And it did take 45 minutes. Sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more, but this is what it looks like. It's a little brown on the top, as you could see, and it's done. So now it has to sit for 20 minutes to a half hour before we do the amaretto topping. So we're about to make the amaretto sauce, which go as a topping for our bread pudding. So we have very low heat. I'm going to put in a stick of butter. Unsalted butter is best. We'll let that melt a little, and then we're going to add a cup of powdered sugar, which is right here, and a quarter cup of amaretto, which is right here, and 1 egg yolk. It's optional. You don't have to put that in. So over low heat, you melt the butter and the sugar, stirring constantly. Then you add the amaretto and the egg yolk, and you heat slowly for 1 or 2 minutes. If you use the egg, you have to let it set. So you need to cook it for at least 2 minutes. And then you pour it over the bread pudding and you let it soak in. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. Okay, so the sauce is made. Put the amaretto in. You can see how nice and smooth it is. It's not too thick. It's thick. So what I do now is, it's on very, very low. It's still warm. I'm going to put holes into the bread pudding so that it will absorb and go into every bite, the sauce. So you just, you know, with a spoon or any kind of chopstick or something to put holes in so that the sauce will drip down to every bite. And then we're just going to put it right in, and we're done. Then you could serve it, you could freeze it. So here we go. You just slowly pour it over the top. spoon. Again, make some more holes. So, pork tastes so good. Of course, this step you could do anytime you want. It doesn't have to be done right away. You could do it the next day, putting on the topping. And that's it. Now you take a piece. I'll take a small piece out for myself. Here's a small piece for myself. And that's it. That's a bread pudding from New Orleans. Hope you like it.